The Vatican has countless amazing things to see. Today we're going to cover 2 Vatican tours which you have time to do on the day of your cruise embarkation from Rome. Hi y'all, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Becky.
And together we're a cruising good time.
In our last 2 Mediterranean cruises, we sailed from Civitavecchia. And the morning of our cruise, we took Vatican tours before we headed over to get on the ship.
So just as a reminder, please give us a like and subscribe and turn on those notifications.
So one of our fabulous tours was St. Peter's Basilica.
St. Peter's is just a wonderful building. It's the largest building in the Vatican. It's the largest church in the world and also the largest dome structure in the world. And at the time it was built, it was probably the largest building on the entire planet. It's absolutely magnificent.
It has amazing architecture.
Oh, yes. Very,
so
very.
A few of its famous Renaissance architects included Michelangelo and Bernini.
Absolutely. And just so much work went into it. And it took like 120 years to make. I mean, just amazing that it takes that long to build and just look that great when it's all done, you know?
It is filled with beautiful artwork, and my favorite is the Pieta.
Oh, that is just extraordinary. You can just, and that sculpture that Michelangelo did, you can just feel the weight of Jesus in Mary's lap, and you can just see and feel her sorrow that she has. And it's just an absolutely amazing piece of sculpture. It's phenomenal.
It really is. So there are over 91 popes who are buried there, but one of the biggest features in the church is the baldachin. And so the baldachin is over the altar, so it's kind of in the center of the church. And buried underneath it is the remains of St. Peter.
Yeah, it's quite a spectacular structure, and it's very tall. It's like 60 feet tall. And the building's so big, 60 feet doesn't look like that big. But you walk up to it, and it's like 60 feet tall, 6 stories tall inside this dome structure. It's actually a pretty amazing perspective on the architecture there.
Yeah. Another amazing opportunity in St. Peter's is that you can climb the dome. You're going to have to buy a ticket. There's usually a long line, but you have that opportunity.
Oh, yeah. The first thing you do is you go up to like the mezzanine area up above the floor of the cathedral. Affords you a very good view of the rest of the cathedral. You can really take in the grandeur of the whole building from up at that higher level.
And then the true adventure begins. You climb to the top of the dome.
But what's neat about that dome is there's actually 2 domes on top of inside of each other. And when you go to the top, you climb in between those 2 domes. I've never done it. I'm pretty tall, and it looks like a headbanger to me. So I love seeing the pictures from the top, and but if it's a good thing to do. Our kids have done it. They really liked it.
So some of the spectacular views from the dome include you can look over St. Peter's Square, and they have all of these statues on top of the columns, which you can't really appreciate from ground level, but they're pretty spectacular from the dome.
Once you get up there on top.
I don't think you would have time to do the climb and be able to make it to the ship on time.
One thing I really like about St. Peter's is to show how large a building it is. On the ground, they have markers of other famous churches in the world. Sophia Hygra in Istanbul, for example, and National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. So, and all these are in there, and you can just see how much larger St. Peter's is than the rest of these other churches around the world.
Yeah, and I really can't say enough about the grandeur and beauty of every place that you look within the church. Everything was done with such amazing amount of care and detail, from the floor to the walls to the ceiling. It's just spectacular. Wonderful things about St. Peter's Basilica is it opens early. Depending on the season, it opens at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., and you're going to want to be there at opening time.
Yeah, well, 1, it avoids the crowds, but then 2, if you're going to catch the ship later that afternoon, it gives you ample time to see St. Peter's in the morning, get back to your hotel, collect your luggage, and then get on whatever transport you're going to do to get to the ship. The easiest way to get there in the morning is you just take a taxi over to St. Peter's Square. They're going to drop you over on one side of where all the rides go on one side. The security entrance to get in St. Peter's on another side, so you have to walk across the square, which is a nice thing to do because you're going to go visit it. And then you go through security, goes on up into the St. Peter's. You can have as much time as you want once you get inside the building. There is a dress code, So you have to have your knees covered and your shoulders covered. That's good for men and women, right? So don't show up in a tank top shirt and really short shirts, because they'll give you some cloths that are not very attractive, but they do cover you up, and that way you can cover up if you are there. But just dress appropriately to go inside.
On our next cruise out of Civitavecchia, we decided to do a different Vatican tour. This time, we did the Sistine Chapel early entry experience with Vatican Museum.
Yeah, we booked that through Viatar. It's a pretty easy thing to do. And the key difference there from going to St. Peter's is the meeting place is a whole different spot. It's literally on the other side of the Vatican. So where you'd be by St. Peter's Square to go to the St. Peter's Basilica for the museums and for the Sistine Chapel, they meet over on the side of Vatican City at Via Tunisi. And so that's where the entrance to the Vatican museums are. They've redone that over the last few years. The traffic flow is much better than what it was, say, 5 or 10 years ago, where the entrance is bigger, they have more metal detectors and security systems and all that. So it flows a whole lot better than what it did, 5, 10 years ago, like I said.
They have also made significant changes to the tour. It used to be that the tour was inside 100% with nothing outside. Now they have routed you outside, and they have these little stations set up that have pictures of the Sistine Chapel, the roof, and the surrounding pictures, so that the tour guide can give the explanation of each one. Because inside the Sistine Chapel, there is not supposed to be any talking. And it was an absolutely gorgeous day. So this was a fabulous activity. You also got to look around the gardens and see more architecture. I really loved this change.
Yeah, it was really nice. We went through the sculpture garden up there, and then we went through the hall of tapestries, a hall of maps, which is pretty neat because it has a lot of history with that, trying to get the unification of Italy back in the day. And then right before you get into the Sistine Chapel, the tour actually ends right at the entrance of it, because the guide's already told you about the Sistine Chapel already. But our guide said, hey, if you want to see the Raphael Rooms, turn to the left here, follow these signs, and then follow the signage down to the Sistine Chapel. There's no extra charge to do that. So about half our group went one way, and we went around, looked at the Raphael Rooms, which I absolutely love, because I think that artwork is just as fantastic. It's very vibrant, very large frescoes that Raphael did over there.
Yeah, that is some of the most renowned artwork in all of Vatican City.
Yeah, it was quite the delight to be able to catch that too. And then after the Sistine, you can spend as long as you want in the Sistine Chapel, which is nice. And like I said, there's no talking, except for the guard that keeps saying no talking. And then, but you can spend as much time as you want and move around so you don't crane your neck looking at all the different angles, and just really take it in. The ceiling, the Last Judgment wall, and then the side paintings that Botticelli painted are all fantastic in there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'd grown up always hearing about the Sistine Chapel, and I was so excited the first time I went. And I guess even though I've been many times now, I enjoyed every time.
Yeah. When you're finished with the Sistine Chapel, the way out is also back through the long hallway through the Vatican museums. You go out a different floor than you came in on, just to avoid all the traffic problems. And it has some more of what I remember, gems and precious stones and some artwork, smaller artwork like that you get to see on the way out.
Yeah, well, one of the things I noticed for myself is I kept there was a beautiful day and the windows were open, and I kept looking out and taking all these pictures just to see different areas of Vatican City as well as everything that's within the museum.
Fun, yeah. And then in either case, both when we saw St. Peter's in the morning or Vatican City or the Sistine Chapel in the morning, just take the taxi back to your hotel. We had arranged private cards both times. We found out to be the most efficient way to get from Rome down to the port, and then just have your private card. You've already arranged for them to be there. We had them pick us up at 11 or 11:30. Both those times, we still made it down to the port by about 12:45, 1 o'clock. Plenty of time to board and enjoy the day on the ship and have a good time.
When our cruise returned to Civitavecchia, we had some friends who were staying aboard the ship, but they caught the train, went over to Rome. It's right, the train station's right near Vatican City. They went to St. Peter's Basilica, had a great tour, and they got there right before 9. So the line wasn't long when they were in it, but when they were turned around, went through the entrance, there were like 200 people behind them. So getting there early makes a difference. This was the time of the year where the museum opened at 8 a.m.
Yeah, if you're on coming through Civitavecchia, as just as a port of call, like they were continuing on another cruise, then it's real easy just to hop over that train station. It's a little bit of a walk, so you got to be able to walk about a mile or two. You catch that train, it goes right into Rome, stops by the Vatican City. Easy to do. You just take it back at the end of the day when we get there. So it's really convenient if you want to catch the Vatican just as from the cruise ship as a port of call. Another tour to consider, and we may do this the next time we're there, is they have a breakfast in early entry in Sistine Chapel. We discovered on this last tour that one actually gets in even earlier, so that's the earliest entry they have. If you go in there and they serve you breakfast right there, and that morning is pretty weather, so they had it outside right there in the Vatican Gardens. It looked like quite the setup. Something to consider as well.
Yeah, that is something we will consider for our next Mediterranean cruise. Our channel includes other Rome and Mediterranean videos. If you arrive in Rome a few days early, you may be interested in this video. And we will be having a Rome embarkation video. The link will be located here. And we have other Mediterranean cruise videos that may be useful as well. We hope you've enjoyed this video.
Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and subscribe. Turn on the notifications. Click on the other links. It all helps us to get noticed by the algorithm and get us discovered. I appreciate your help.
Until next time, have a cruising good time.